recording. You just do that and see how it. Let's talk.
Howdy ho, this is Matt Johnson on location with Larry Beaton at his home in Outlook, Saskatchewan. And I'm here today to talk about 30. Well, he's here to talk about the 30s. I'm here to ask him some questions about the 30s and 40s. So we'll just check this and make sure it works. Okay? Hello, and this is Matt Johnson interviewing Larry Beaton
Still going?